Okay, this is the Dow Jones, and we're looking again at the weekly chart, and as usual we have our couple of high volume bars marked off for us to look at, and we'll just zoom in a little bit closer, and we can see where we've had a previous area of accumulation over here in the past, May last year, May to September, and that actual area is now giving us a bit of support in this last crash just recently. I'll just put the fibs on as well, and that's taken from the low to the high, and we can see we last week tagged the 38.2 retracement. Your 50% is your 9673 if it gets there. And I also had a little play around with the couple of other ones we don't normally see. The 21.1% you can see is come in and act as an area of resistance, and also the, what we got there, the 33.3 as well is actually, I can't see it because it's bang on this orange line I've taken from a high volume bar in the past. That's actually acted as support as well. But anyway, we can take those off and zoom in. And again, we've had the so we had high volume down, so I've marked can mark off the low of that bar, and that's provided some support. Then it's been sitting in this pattern for a little while, but it's high volume down bar. It's closed lower than the previous bar. Very high volume, but it's closed high, so there's some accumulation occurring on that bar. Next bar is pushed lower but on lighter volume, and it's sprung up. No demand and an up thrust in the previous bar. In the next bar, and that's knocked it back. But again, they've been just sitting here within the range of this high volume bar here. Last week was a very high volume down bar. Although it wasn't that high volume. It was down on increased volume as it pushed into this previous area of accumulation, and it had the bounce back up there. So supply overcoming demand on that bar. And the other thing to note is that we have less volume or less supply than we did on our original shakeout bar over here. So there's less selling pressure as it goes along, but it's sort of remained fairly consistent. So even though there's less, there's still supply, plenty of supply present, and so we're just watching to see that maybe if they're accumulating within that range, or if they want to push down, which if they are accumulating, they'll want to do is push down to where they're accumulating in the past. But have a look at the daily. I've marked off some more high volume bars. What have I done there? I'll zoom in a bit closer. So I've taken those from this accumulation range where they're accumulating in the past. At 10607, roughly around that area, has acted as a bit of support. And if we zoom in just for the more current action, I've just started this little downtrend channel as well here. But anyway, we've got all our high volume bars down as it crashed, and then we get a bounce because they're absorbing the supply as it's coming down. That supply is being absorbed, and that creates your bounce. And so there's definite accumulation happening on these down bars. Then when we get to the top, we get our no demand starts showing up, and our weak bars, narrow spreads. So they're not interested in higher prices just yet. But when we get down to the bottom of the range, we get volume pick up, and we get a reversal. So there was a scary down bar on this day here in September the 22nd. They closed off the low. Next bar was up, and it's pushed through. So they'd hidden their buying in that bar, tripped off a lot of stops. Up she goes. Then we get this high volume down bar, or it's an up bar, but it pushed down lower. There's a lot of stops under this area here that they would have been targeting, so that was a shakeout, and that's confirmed by the next bar going up. But we notice as it's going up that there's less volume, so I think they are attempting to accumulate down in the bottom of the range, but they're not interested in higher prices yet. And our last bar was particularly weak. It was a really light volume hidden type upthrust, narrow spread, very light volume, so no demand, and that's sitting right on the close of this high volume bar here, or the high of this high volume bar here, as it's absorbed the supply coming down. So we've had supply come in, they've absorbed that supply, and that's allowed it to bounce quite easily until it's hit an area of supply, one of our supply lines. Then it needs a bit of help in the volume wise to get through there. But it was no demand, and it's not going to get through there on no demand, so we can expect them then to test this high volume, I would. So we may see some testing of that high volume at least, and then we'll see whether they take it lower or higher. We still have a set of lower highs and lower lows, so we're still in a downtrend, but that's a very shortable bar, being on no demand in an upthrust, and I would expect our lower prices at least back into the body of this high volume bar down here. So we'll just have to keep an eye on how that progresses. But that's a weak bar. When we're in a downtrend, as we are, we pay a lot more attention to our weak bars when they appear than to our strong bars, because we do have some strong bars there, but sometimes they just move the price sideways, give us a bit of a retrace in a downtrend. But our high probability trades are our weak setups at the top. We did get a particularly weak setup here with a high volume narrow spread up bar, and they up thrust it on no demand as well, so you know then they're not getting through there. And so that's what we're looking for if we're looking at being short or long on whatever we're trading. So we'll go and skip now to our market, and we'll go to the weekly chart. I'll just bring up 500 bars here. So I've still got this uptrend from these two lows and now this downtrend line here. So we're still in a downtrend, obviously. Just looking at that. Put the fibs on. Where are you? I've lost them. There they are. And if we zoom in, we can see we've been in the range of the 38 retracement and the 61 retracement. Where did I take those from? I can't remember now. I think that's from this low to this high here. So we'll take those off. So again, we've had our big shakeout bar. As it goes down, hits the 61% retracement, closes high, so there's accumulation on that bar, but still a lot of supply, and they've been pushing into this bar to try and accumulate within the range of this bar. And we've got this very high volume bar kicks in, but it's an up bar. We don't particularly like high volume up bars, but it could be that they're trying to absorb the supply that's coming in, and the next bar closes higher. So that was a bit of absorption there, where the supply or the selling pressure was being absorbed. That's allowed it to rise on the next bar, and it's risen up to the close of our high volume weekly bar. I've got some other high volume bars there marked as well as resistance levels. We're still well below those. Skip to the daily. We've got our downtrend channel still in place, and we've had this median line in place, and it's sort of worked out for us. It's pulled away from there a little bit just recently. Zoom in, there's our real high volume bars. There's 3 of them in a row as it's crashed. I've marked the high of that and the low of that, and so there's definite buying coming in. As the price has gone down, the volume's really high, but it's closed high, so there's supply overcoming demand, and it's shifted the price up. But again, same as the Dow, we get some weak up thrusts, some very weak bars, narrow spread up bars we don't like coming in and knocking it down, and they've been attempting for a while, as we've been saying, to accumulate within the range of this bar, and they've actually pushed into this bar and exerted effort to get back into this bar. And then on, so we'll have a look at what did we have Monday. We went down on very low volume. Tuesday, the volume increased, but we didn't go anywhere very far. We found some support on this down this pivot point over here. The spread was narrow, so we had some buying coming in for the spread to be narrow as it's going down. There's buyers taking up the selling and absorbing the selling. That's confirmed by the next bar up, and then it just cuts through quite easily because there's a lot of that supply is being absorbed. It's closed at the low of our first real high volume bar up here, or around about there, just under, and then it's shot up on increasing volume. It's going up on increasing volume. 1, 2, 3. So it's widespread, increasing volume, widespread again, increased volume. It's not excessive, but the range of the bars are quite wide, and even that bar there is quite wide. Even though it's narrowed a bit, it's still a widespread bar. It's not a weak bar by any means. It's broken above a shakeout bar, so I would expect some testing now within that area, and we've actually made our first higher low for a little while in this series of lower highs. We've broken out of that, and so now we want to see a higher low, and we might see that next week, because I don't think they're going to like that that bar on the Dow that we saw on Friday. So this could actually come off quite hard if they decide to sell it off and test, or they might give us an up thrust as well, the same. But I think they'll come back and test now and use that opportunity that the Dow has given them to do that. Well, it hasn't given them yet. They will have just seen that there is no demand, and they'll be expecting lower prices, and they will position themselves accordingly. And whether that comes down hard or whether they up thrust first, exactly the same, we'll just have to see. But I would expect that to come down and test. There's a bit of a gap there as well. So I've gapped it up, and I've gapped it up around about the close or the low of these bars over here. So they've gapped it over that supply, and they will bring it back to test that at least, and then we'll see how we go. But the bars themselves, there's nothing weak about these bars at all, so we're only speculating now on how it might respond to the Dow, what's happening on the Dow, and also we will want to see the supply that's just broken through. We'll want to see that tested, and so we'll see if we can put in a higher low. But I'll probably be looking at this middle of this channel as well, so a nice low volume test on there would be positive, and we'll just see if they give us that on next week. But I think that I think the Dow will definitely come off, and of course our market will respond to that, but we'll just have to see what it does. But we're still in a downtrend, and a couple of good days doesn't change the trend. We need is at the bottom. Well, it's, you know, you're not going to you can't say it is yet. I mean, it's in a downtrend until it's in an uptrend, and it's not in an uptrend yet. So the easier or the higher probability trades would be to short any weak bars coming in at the peaks or at around the resistance levels or at the top of our trend channels. Will be good opportunities to go short, but we're now looking for some sort of testing to see that maybe it's going to put in a higher low, and maybe they might be finished accumulating and might want to take it up, but that's something we're just going to have to watch for. But in the meantime, it's still in its downtrend, and I would expect some more testing, and we'll just watch for especially on this high volume bar here on top of that, and so we'll just have to see. That's, to me, that there isn't tradable. I can't go long there because I've missed it. It's not a weak bar, but it's not it's around mid channel, so it's not something I can go long on. In a downtrend, I'm looking to go short anyway, so but it's certainly not shortable, that bar where it is, because it is actually acting strong. If we ignore the Dow and what's happening on the Dow, the last 4 days, and actually the whole week has actually acted strong. And if we look on the weekly, it's a widespread after dipping down its closed high. I mean, it's acted strong last week, and that's all you can say about it at the moment. We'll just have to wait for any weakness to appear if we want to short it. But anyway, that's the Dow and the XJO.